Hi there, welcome to Chapter 9 notes. We're looking at modelling and analysing reducing balance loans and annuity loans. Before I go any further, I'll just say at the end of this video, I'm going to go through a worked example of how to find out how much a last payment will be. And I'm also going to show a quick example of how you still go about calculating if there's an interest rate change halfway through loan repayments. So stay tuned for that right at the end if that's something that interests you. So when calculating a sequence, use the ANDS button to generate a sequence. So that's the same as what I've mentioned before. Just get that formula in and keep pressing ANDS. It's going to save you time. Make sure you count how many times you press ANDS. PA means per annum, once a year. Read the question. Is it PA but calculated monthly? You've got to work it out per month, that sort of stuff. Just be very, very, very careful reading the question. Now, in this exercise, I'm going to go through all different types of loans and reducing balance, annuities, that kind of stuff. So there's all the worked examples. I'm going to show you first off the program you should be using on your calculator. So on your main menu on your calculator, using the financial solver, and you should get this screen up. If that screen's not up, click Calc 1 and go Compound Interest. That's what we're looking for with this screen. That's what you want to be using. Okay, so using the financial solver on your calculator, it's very important you understand what a positive value and a negative value means. The way I like to explain it, positive means you are getting money in your pocket. So it might not seem as a positive to you as in like taking a loan, but do you physically get money in your pocket, which is positive, or do you have to take money out of your pocket and give it away, which in turns is a negative? So try to think of that. If you're not sure, is the value positive or negative, just think, is money going into my pocket or is money going out of my pocket? So that's the way to understand that. On our calculator, we've got all these values here. So if I quickly pop it up, all these letters here. So you can go through and have a look at these. The main one is your interest rate is per annum. So if a question's giving you monthly, you need to work out per annum and then use the per annum value in there. PY and CY, these both generally, I'm saying 90% of the time, are the same value. In the revision week, I'll show you an example when they're not the same value, but pretty much nearly 100% of the time they are the same value. So I'll go through that later. So we have types of loans. We've got reducing balance loans, where the bank gives us money and then we make repayments back until the loan is fully paid off. So that's our final value is 0. If FV is negative, you still owe money. So you still owe money to the bank. So this one's just your standard loan. Bank gives you money, they charge you interest, you end up paying more back than you borrowed. Interest only loan, this is you only pay off the interest value. So the bank gives you money and your final value is exactly the same as your starting value. However, you still owe the bank that money. So it's a negative. So your interest only loan is your starting value is positive, but your negative value is the same value but negative. Annuity loan. So you give the bank money. So it's money out of your pocket. So it's a negative. The bank gives you regular repayments back. So the bank's giving you money for your pocket, which is positive. If the annuity is fully paid back, your final value is 0. So it's kind of like a forced savings account, this one. So you give the bank money, you get some interest on it, and the bank end up giving you money back. So the difference between annuity and a perpetuity is that you give the bank money, again, the bank gives you money back, which is positive. However, with this one, your PV is negative and your final value is positive. This one is forever. So this one, your FV won't be 0. This one keeps on going forever and ever and ever. Payment values can be calculated by your starting value times your interest rate as a decimal. So the bank's going to give you money back. So it's kind of like a circle. So you start with some money, you get interest that goes up, then the bank give you pretty much that interest back, and then you start back at exactly the same location. To work out the total repayments of a loan, if you borrow a certain amount of money and then you are paying X amount of dollars back, that payment is including interest. So interest is kind of a fee from the bank. So your payment value times your number of repayments is total how much you will pay back. For example, on say $300,000 house loan, you're probably going to pay back close to $1 million over 30 years. That's just how much interest the banks are going to charge. So if there's a question asking the amount of interest paid, you've got to find your total repayment, which we can see here. So total repayment, then minus what you borrowed. So that difference between what you actually physically pay back to what you borrow, that difference is how much you paid in interest. So if there was a perfect world and there was no interest from banks, bank would give you $100,000 and you would pay $100,000 back and there'd be zero interest, but it doesn't work like that. So you end up paying more back. So the more money you pay back than what you borrow is classified as interest. All right, so that's a quick overview of all the different types of loans. So let's have a look, as I said at the start, how to work out a final repayment. So here's our calculator. Quick information for you. We've got a loan at 6% interest per annum. It's compounded monthly, so that's why it's 12. We want to pay off this loan, which is $0, and we borrowed $12,000, and we want to pay back at installments of $200. So because the bank's given us money, this is a positive. Because we're paying the bank, this is a negative money out of our pocket. So a question could pop up and say, how many repayments do you need to make? So what you can do is click on the end value, and for this example, we need to make 71.51 repayments. Now, that's how many repayments we need to make. However, because there's that 0.5 repayments, you need to make 72 repayments total. Because you can't, if you're making half a payment, well, that's still classified as a payment. So you need to pay it off, pay 72. So this is one of those questions you need to round up. Question. How much is this 0.5 of a payment? Now, it's not just 0.5 of $200, because on that last 0.5 of a payment, the bank is still going to charge you interest for that 0.5. So what you need to do here is find out how much do you owe after 71 repayments. So in this case, negative, we still owe $102.25 rounding up cents on that last repayment. We still owe that after 71 repayments. So we still got that 0.5 of a repayment left to do. So what you can do is, we make that our starting value. It's positive because it's still money in our pocket, so we've got to change it to a negative. We want our final value to be 0. Now, how many repayments we're making? It is 0.5 of a payment. However, even if you make a bit of a repayment, it still is a repayment, so that's classified as 1. And what we're trying to find out here is how much is that last repayment. So $102.76. So as you can see, that's 52 cents more than what we actually had. So that was 52 cents of interest was added just for that 0.5 of a repayment. So very important question that may pop up definitely on exam. There is a high chance that's going to pop up. Now let's have a look at an example. If we say have an interest rate increase somewhere through our loan. So here's an example. We've got $10,000 we borrowed from the bank. We want to pay it off in $200 installments, compounded monthly. It needs to be at 0 because we want to pay it off. How long will it take us to pay it off? So we find out n, it's going to take us 57.68 repayments. Now then, if they said after 50 repayments, the interest rate goes up, how is this going to affect our question? Because we know we need 56 repayments. So what you need to do is after 50 repayments, you need to find out how much you owe. So in this case, after 50 repayments, we owe $1,500. What you need to do is take this now as your starting value and turn it positive, because obviously it's money in our pocket. Then you want to, well, the question is saying we're increasing our interest rate. So let's say it's increased to 8%. We want to keep our repayments at $200. So we can then change this to 0. So what we're going to be doing is actually find out how many extra repayments is needed at this 8%. So finding out, we need 7.7 payments at 8% to cover off this $1,500. You then add this 7.7 repayments onto the 50 repayments that we'd already calculated. So because it's 0.7, we would make 0.7 of a payment is still a payment. We're going to be making a total of 58 payments. So you add them together. And if you've got any further questions about how to use this, just email me or ask me in the revision weeks how to use this Finance Solver calculator. Thank you.